People don't understand sometimes when you do certain things in a certain way because life teaches you the lesson. I had a just conversation the other day. My wife said, trust me, we've done it. It's like, I'm always checking in. You know why? Especially when people tell you, oh, I know what I'm doing. Leave me alone. I know what I'm doing. Oh, you're too much. People don't understand. People, sorry.
Hello guys and welcome to another episode. I have a guest in the studio with me today. Guys, today I'm going to jump straight in. Just like me, my guest today went from Uber driver to millionaire. Different game. He's a property millionaire, but from Uber driving to property millionaire, literally from the streets of Nigeria to the UK to a notorious Forbes coach. Can we welcome Dr. Daniel Moses? Good to have you here, Dr. Daniel.
Good to be here in this amazing space. I'm so blown away to be here, and quite a drive all the way from Bromley, and now on the M25. Amazing place you have anyway. So thank you so much, Tobi, for having me in your studio in this amazing space.
Well, first of all, he tried to show me up today. I came downstairs wearing, I looked like I was in a boy band. And then you came in this double-breasted, like, rambunctious suit. Literally, the moment I walked in, I said, I just did an about turn. I went straight upstairs, donned a nice suit, put on the gold tie, just to be at your level. I just want to play a little bit at your level. Tell us who Dr. Daniel is, for those of us who don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm a very simple, easygoing person, but very driven, very ambitious. I think one of the things that's gotten me from where I am, especially when I discovered the fact that the principles of wealth creation comes with a lot of being aggressive in your goals and your purpose and where where you want to be in life. Mm-hmm. So I'm someone who over the last 22 years will call myself an entrepreneur, but I did not become successful until literally over the last 3 years. Mm. That I saw myself winning, but it went through a lot of failures. It went through a lot of ups and downs, bridges in the marriage, going through depression, going through anxiety, becoming an author now and having so many success around me. Mm. But one of the things I learned when I speak about who I am is that the fact is that we'll have to understand the importance of building from within, taking care of the within so that you can manifest the outside.
Absolutely.
And that has helped me to become the inspiration that I am today. Mm-hmm. The Forbes coach that I am today, the doctor of wealth.
Come on.
I use the word, yes. The doctor of wealth creation and the property mogul that I am. So in a nutshell, I'm a man who wears many hats, but all focused on the real estate and wealth creation industry.
Fantastic. Now, you mentioned something very important there. One of my favorite authors is John Maxwell. And he quoted something. He said, successful people are standing on top of a mountaintop of failures. Mm-hmm. That's what made them successful. That if you look underneath any successful person, you're going to see just failure after failure. They literally, so he said, fail forward.
Yes.
He's notorious for the book, Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. It was one of the books that really taught me the principles of failing forward, that you have to push forward, and the only way to success is failure.
Yeah.
Now, yesterday on our Instagram, you shared quite explicitly some things that I didn't know about you. I don't think even some of your own audience didn't know about you. But you talked about one very triggering moment in your business journey, where you took risk, because that is business. You had some situation happen in the UK. You had to go back to Nigeria.
Yeah.
Can you share the story of what happened?
So I first came to this country a couple of years back, and in 2012, I originally got fed up and tired and went back to Nigeria to set up oil and gas. But before that, I had a little bit of challenges in my life, where I had to leave the country, voluntarily. And I left voluntarily and I couldn't come back. All of this is in my book, by the way, which is called The Test, The Journey of the Ordinary to the Extraordinary, which is currently going to be released June the 6th, 2023. So I remember being in Nigeria and not being able to come back here. I have my wife. I've got 2 young kids. So I had my first child, not my second, because at that time I hadn't got my second child. So Abraham was already here. Angel wasn't even conceived yet. So 2000, I'm way back in Nigeria. I can't come back to the country, and I keep battling the case over there because I had to leave voluntary in 2009, which I've never actually ever shared. But I'm not going to go into the great details because in the book, because I want people to read the full story, so it's not actually very, very controversial. So anyway, I managed to win the battle. You know, having left in 2009, came back in 2010, managed to win the battle, returned back into England.
You had children.
I had
here.
my wife here.
Your wife and children.
I had my son
and
here.
still had to leave.
And
because
has
I've
to.
seen people who've gone through that. That is not fun.
It's not fun.
To feel that disenfranchised, like nobody really wants you in a place like there's no sense of home. And then you go back to Nigeria and start a business.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? I do business. I've got businesses, and I can't. You know, I do it as well. But you've just experienced something traumatic. Most people, when they experience something traumatic, look for safety.
Yeah.
You've exposed yourself to more danger and risk. Why would you start a business after what you've experienced?
When I experienced leaving the country voluntarily and then eventually coming back legally in 2010. Whilst I was way back in Nigeria, I had gotten married in 2006, by the way. So it's quite a very interesting question. Let me go deeper. So I first came to this country in 2004. Back and forth. I then met my wife in 2005 in a bus. So within 6 months, I proposed to my wife.
You met your wife on a bus?
Yes, I met my wife on the bus.
See, there's so many angles. So you've never met this woman before. You get on a bus. How did you proposition? How did you pattern this thing?
I met my wife in the bus. I still remember she walked through the bus. She's carrying all the different bags with her. And the moment I saw her, I was with 2 of my friends. You know, and 2 of my friends were actually contemplating who's going to go and say hello.
Okay.
And I'm like, guys, calm down. This is mine.
Hey!
I was like, guys, calm down. Chill. This is mine.
The doctor of love has it.
I said, I've got this.
Yes.
You know, and I spoke to her. She wasn't listening anyway. But anyway, she got down her bus. I got down on the same stop with her. Though that was not my direction.
Okay.
I stopped from the bus and I helped her with her bags.
Okay.
Came down with her, helped her to take her bags into where she was going to.
Okay.
But still no number collected. But eventually we bumped into each other, another case scenario again.
Look at that.
We exchanged numbers now, so because you're not going anywhere.
That's marketing. How many times does someone need to see before they buy your product?
I think if you really look at it, right, in the standard of the market industry say there has to be 7 touch points. If you're good, 3 touch points. But I've been in a situation where I've closed an entire room at one point, but that's how much you become of a sales guy.
Okay, so you were closing a deal here.
So I closed the deal. I closed the deal on the second time.
Look, I'm a gentleman.
Exactly.
You come off the bus, it's not your stop. Part of that close is I'll carry your bags. You're adding value.
Yes.
You're providing a service here. You're demonstrating something so that she can extrapolate into future. Say this is a good man.
Absolutely.
And then she sees you again. Now the subconscious thought is implanted of who you are. She's ready to buy the deal.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Absolutely.
This is business 101 that men can learn about dating.
You know, I explain business so deep with how men and how a male and female can actually look at courtship.
Yes.
I explain business that type.
Yes.
And I even explain business and sales, you know, even childbearing, right? Even sexuality. Because if you want to be successful and you wanted to sell a product, all right, and you're looking to sell that product to every single person, people are not going to buy that specific product if they don't become accustomed to it. So take your TV channel and you see BT always promoting every single day, telling you they've got the fastest broadband internet, even though you're not ready to buy and change your internet service provider.
Yes.
Now, the day Virgin Media misbehaves, the first thing that comes into your mind is, I'm going to switch to BT because
Yeah.
they just produced the first one.
Right.
And this is something that is a void where business or startups don't even think about marketing the product enough
Right. So people
for you to
think
plan
because
subconsciously.
somebody else is with them, they're not married, they're just dating. Right?
Yeah.
They're not committed. So you might as well advertise your own self there as well. And then one day this guy breaks your heart. Well, there's this person over here, and you can move on.
Absolutely.
It's a great allegory because this is how I was saying to a business partner just earlier, I said, I'm grooming a prospect right now. That sounds dodgy by any terms, because grooming is like child grooming. But essentially, when you got somebody that you're trying to bring into a business deal, you got to walk with it like it's a relationship. You got to nurture the relationship. You got to take care of the relationship. You got to make sure you don't drop the baby. You got to make sure that until the money is in the account and everybody's made their profit. Yeah. And even when they've made their profit, there's more to be made by building and adding value to the relationship and
Absolutely.
That. So it's powerful. So you've got into a relationship, but now you have to leave the country.
Yes. So I left the country, and then when I left the country, I'm here in Nigeria for almost a year. I can't come back. I'm battling my case back and forth, back and forth. Eventually, a year later, I win the case and I come back to England. Now, I came back to England. Whilst I was in Nigeria for that whole year, it was just petty business here and there because the mindset is I need to go back to my wife. I need to go back to my son. My son was my first son was born in 2008. I'm out of the country in 2009. So you can see the time frame. He just started to work when I left the country. And now I came back. I had to start a business now. I started a business in establishing an internet cafe, and as well as I started to buy clothes to ship over to Nigeria. I started to buy cars.
Okay.
Break it into spare parts, ship back to Nigeria. I started doing that 2010, 2011. And I'm asking myself every single day, what the hell am I doing as an entrepreneur? So it's like you're just chasing. Nothing seems to work. There's so many challenges around. 2012, I'm like, you know what? I can't continue in this country like this. I've got to go back to Nigeria. Now, I intentionally relocate.
You went to Nigeria for real. Did you take your family?
No.
You went by
So
yourself?
this time I said to my wife, I'm just tired of running helter-skelter trying to, it's like you're going somewhere, but you're going nowhere. You're just trying to go somewhere, you're going nowhere. 2012, I said, just going to go back. A year later, I'm just going to go back. And whilst this was ongoing, this was because I didn't really understand entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And this is because I didn't understand that you need to sow. The farmer goes to sow, and then it waits to what?
Harvest. Yeah.
I go back to Nigeria. I set up oil and gas business in 2012, 2013.
So the other businesses you were running, just on your principle here, the farmer goes to sow. Just on your principle here, what was the issue then with the other businesses? Was it that they weren't working, or you just weren't patient enough to see the harvest, to nurture those companies till they become what they need to be to take care of you? You just want the money now.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because when we get into this journey of entrepreneurship, I was having a very interesting chat with your team when I came in, and this was something that I was talking about.
Sure.
I think the journey of entrepreneurship has been sold as an instant gratification mentality that you start a business, you become successful overnight. Whether you're selling, whether you are in crypto, whether you're in property, whatever that you're doing in business, things take time to stabilize.
They do. And even with your analogy of seed time and harvest, right? Like, for example, this plant we have here, before it can even grow into what it needs to be, the roots need to go down into the soil. And that's the part where people are like, I'm not successful. Nothing's working. There's no hope. It's dark. I'm being buried under bills. I'm being buried under pain. Nobody even knows my name. I've done Instagram lives, and it's only one person watching my Instagram live, and that's my mom. And nothing's really pulling through for me. So, but then if they keep on in that dark time, that's the time, because if you shoot suddenly, if suddenly life just gives you success like that, how many lottery winners blow it all in a short period of time? Because they didn't develop the principles in those dark seasons that it's going to take to sustain success.
Yes.
So I'd say, this is where entrepreneurs really become entrepreneurs. It's the time they're not known. We know of Musk when he blew up, when he IPO'd or whatever. We know of the Bartletts or whatever, but what we don't know is they've been preparing when nobody was looking, nobody knew their name. They've been failing as much as they possibly could, making every mistake. And all we know success is when it was public, when they faced their Goliath in public and everybody saw it. Yeah. So sorry, back to...
So, and that is it, right? So at the end of the day, I went through this journey and I got back to Nigeria, started oil and gas. So now I've done trade. I've basically broken cars and spare parts, shipped them to Nigeria. Had an internet cab that got business did not work. Now all of a sudden I'm in oil and gas. Again, a friend of a friend told me about it, introduced me to one person and the other. There was no actual mentorship, or neither did I go to conference and seminar. Did I actually have someone who was actually leading me? But I was told, do this. So I'm in the business in oil and gas now, logistics, moving products from one destination to the other. Come 2005, so 2015, business is all good and everything. I'm like, thinking, I'm winning now. All of a sudden, 2 of my trucks carrying.
So the business is going well.
Business going well now. 2012 or 2013, all the way to 2015, business is going well.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm feeling on top again now. 3 years, or about 2 to 3 years, business is working. Okay, I can afford the great things. I can travel, but not business class. Not just do the
things
basic
are comfortable.
Things are a bit comfortable.
Yes.
I can send the missus
You're sending money home.
I can send Mrs. money from Nigeria to pay the mortgage in London and everything else, and pay the bills, and everything is fine. The business can pay its bills and look after me. All of a sudden, 2015, towards the end of the year, I received a phone call from my driver. Just close to around about 8 to 9 p.m. And he's shouting and screaming, spoke pidgin language in Nigeria, and shouting and screaming. What is it?
Are you in Nigeria or UK at the time?
I'm in the UK. Shouting, screaming. My phone rings. Oga, spoke. Actually, I'll speak exactly the words.
Oh God.
It's like, Oga, he's shouting, Oga. I said, Paul, waiting happened. That means, what happened? And he said, fire. I said, what fire? He said, I did not die. And he's screaming, shouting. 2 of my trailers carrying 65 liters of petroleum products had run
How much
into
money
each
we're
other.
talking?
We're talking about almost £150,000 together with the trucks, everything else, the product and everything else. And this was a period of scarcity as well. So we've overbought the product and everything else, moving into a part of the northern Nigeria, around Lokoja, where you have the Nigeria, River Niger. The 2 trucks runs into each other, burst into flames.
Was it negligence? Why did they run into each other?
The bad roads. And they fell into the valley, 2 of them. And
I'm guessing Nigeria, no insurance.
I'm coming there.
Oh gosh.
So, okay. They burst into flames.
Thank God life was spared. Nobody died.
Nobody died.
Yes.
Nobody died. And they burst into flames, and I'm discussing with my wife, this was happening. My wife told me to calm down. I calmed down and I chilled the next morning, and the managers and everybody else involved in the business trying to liaise. We didn't have an insurance policy active because the previous insurance policy was already expired, and the manager who was duly paid to manage the business, because I was in and out, because when I was in 2013 to 2015, I would go to Nigeria, I would spend 3 months, I'll come back to London, I'll go...
This thing, you can employ people to do a task.
Exactly.
I've experienced this so many times. You can employ people to do a task and they overlook the most important detail of that task, and things can literally go to hell like that. Let me ask you a question. What date was this?
This was towards the end of 2015.
Okay, so you have the chance now to get a time machine. Go back to 2015, to the day before, with all the knowledge you have now. What are you doing differently that day?
If I was to go back 2015 when this happened to me, I think first of all, I would personally, first of all, make sure that I have all my reminders set on my phones to renew my insurance policies. That's the very first.
Don't trust the employees to think of it.
No.
You're going to remind them, like...
Then people say, don't multitask. So people say, don't
micromanage.
Don't micromanage. Yes,
micromanage.
Bloody manage.
I feel you 100%, because the amount of things that have fallen through that were deadly to our company, because I thought, don't micromanage, trust people, they'll get it done, and you don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
But you have to be that guy.
Especially when people tell you, oh, I know what I'm doing, leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. Oh, you're too much. I came here with one of my social media assistants. He's there, he knows. I train him almost every day. People don't understand sometimes when you do certain things in a certain way, because life teaches you the lesson.
Correct. You've been burnt a few too many times.
I had a just conversation the other day. My wife said, even my wife now, she's the operations director in the business. She says, trust me, we've done it. It's like, I'm always checking in. You know why? Mm-hmm. What could I have done different in 2015? If I was micromanaging the manager and micromanaging everybody else.
And the truth is, when things go bad, those people, it's not them.
They're gone now. I don't have those guys anymore. They're gone. They face their own life.
But the person who gets attacked for everything going wrong is not the employees. You're going to get attacked. If you got investors, say, lined up, let's say they invested in that petroleum deal, or they had their money invested in it, nobody gets it but you. And even if you don't have investors, the disappointment you feel that and I guess part of the torment is you do wish you could build a time machine and go back. And that's why time is it's such a darn, I wish I could cuss out time, because it's a one-way door. And everything in your mind is not a one-way door. Your imagination keeps on going back. Why didn't I do this?
Yeah.
All I needed to do was make that one phone call. If I had made that darn phone call, this would not have happened. If I checked that document, I don't care if I paid that guy £100,000 to do that document, I should have checked that document to make sure that was done. So then you go through, you described it yesterday. Can you take us back there? You go through literally one of the worst periods of your life after that. First of all, why did that hit you so badly? What are you telling yourself at the time?
When that hit me, when I got that phone call, I received the information. I felt normal. And I just said, wow. I remember the first person I called after speaking to my wife was my mother. And my mother said to me, who is after you? She said, who is after you? And whoever is after you, who is after you? Whoever is after you. And she just...
By that, you're talking to your mom, took
my
it
mother,
spiritually.
spiritual now.
Like, this is a demon.
My
like,
mom
this is not normal. We need to be up in the intercession.
My mom is saying to me, and then after that conversation, the next morning she calls me back. She said, you'll be great. And this is what she's always told me right from when I was growing up as a child. You'll be great, you'll be great. And she's obviously encouraging me now. A couple of weeks later, this is Christmas, coming into Christmas. Now I don't even have money to basically, for Christmas. And the missus had to obviously look after everyone else for December. And then I'm going through all these different trauma. And what I'm literally going backwards is, how come it's almost like anything I'm ever doing is not working? How come? Is entrepreneurship for me? Is this for me? Do I need to do this? And all these different things. And
you
at that
start
time,
to feel like, did you start to feel like, am I cursed?
Yeah.
I hear that. You know what? I tell you, I said it to you yesterday. My friend sent me a message because we have gone through, you ask our team, hell on earth, even just for this event that we're doing. And people will know because you got to be tough, you got to be strong, you're the brand, you can't fall apart. But I got to a point, I text my friend, like, am I cursed? Do we need to pray? Because day after day, something is happening. What's going on? And my friend messaged me, she goes, objects in motion experience the most resistance. She said, keep your motion. the reason why you're experiencing all this resistance is you're moving really fast. Keep going. And that hit me. You don't experience resistance if you're sitting still doing nothing.
No.
The fact that you're doing something is why it looks like you're failing, but it's just the resistance to your speed, to your greatness, to what's happening. So yes, so you feel cursed, you feel...
I quitted.
The trade.
And I quitted.
You quit.
I quit entrepreneurship.
How does it affect your marriage? Did it?
Very. Very, very.
Talk to that as a man. In the moment, I'm guessing you're angry with your wife and you don't know why you're angry.
I'm angry with my wife. I'm angry with my kids. Everything they're doing is wrong. Everything my wife is doing is wrong. She is in the corporate industry. She's always had a job. She only just resigned about last year out of our 25 years career to join the company that we now have established. And she don't seem to understand
Where you're at.
where I am at, what's going on. And she's like, you might as well just go and get a job. You might as well just go get a job. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I found myself, I've never been really properly employed like that. I found myself a job with Amazon as a driver, as a delivery driver, and at the same time with Yoda, working with Yoda. So now I started to do 2 delivery jobs, and I started to have the most amazing time of my life.
Really?
Yeah, I started to just, when you've been beaten so much to the ground,
And there's this guaranteed income now.
and now
No
you're making
risk.
£300, $250, like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
And that was me now. I just started to just appreciate everything. And this was for the first couple of 2 months, 3 months. So I leave, pick up the parcels, put it in my car, deliver it, sometimes pick up the kids who, my son, the big grown now, 2016, right? I'm like, Abraham, that's number 10, that's number 11.
So it'll help you do the delivery.
And we're having fun. And then I didn't realize I was getting depressed. I didn't realize I was getting depressed. And whilst this is happening, and this is January 2016 now, so, February, I didn't know I was getting depressed. But I started to have some weird feeling in my body, that if you drop this like that with a sound, I will feel so irritated as if I feel so irritated, even telephone ringing. Really? I started to have then my body.
Wow.
And I don't understand what I'm going through. And I start to see the doctor. The doctors don't understand my symptoms. I'll lie on the bed and I can't sleep. I literally just lie on the bed and I can't sleep. This episode of the Wealth and Business Podcast is brought to you by our sponsor and our partner, Adrian Benjamin. Adrian is a wealth protection advisor who helps business owners, property investors to financially protect themselves, their family, and their businesses. Adrian will make sure that if the worst was to happen to you or your family, you will be able to financially survive. To know more how Adrian can help you protect your wealth, your families from the worst when it does happen, follow the link on the show notes and you will have access to his social media, a calendar link to help book a consultation call where he can actually see where you are in your wealth protection. And I'll probably fall asleep for about 30 minutes around about 7 o'clock in the morning or so. That's it. I'm going through all these different things. Moving away from that, I started to suffer sleeping paralysis. From that, I started to suffer my mind telling me every single day at 4 o'clock, I was going to die.
How? Are you seeing images, pictures? You're going to die in your sleep? What's happening?
I'm just probably at 4 o'clock in the evening like this, maybe I'm in my living room and I hear something in my head telling me, look at your wife and your kids, say your goodbyes, you're dying now. And I'm looking at my wife, tears is coming out from my eyes. I'm looking at my kids, tears coming out from my eyes. I'm cleaning my tears. And my wife don't understand what's going on with me. I sleep and I'm shouting and I sleeping paralysis, you name it. I'm going through all different things. I'm going through no money. The next thing, obviously, became an Uber driver at the same time.
With the other jobs.
With the other jobs. Wow. Eventually then quit my Uber driving job. So eventually quit my delivery driving job and then just focus on Uber. Whilst I'm driving Uber now, this is all throughout 2016, I'm still going through all this mental breakdown. I think the most worst part was going to the doctors and they're looking at me like this. They've done every single test that can be done.
Why, are they like physical manifestations? And like are organs packing up or
no,
what's happening?
Organs is fine. Everything is working physically, but me telling them all my different symptoms, what is going on with you? The only thing we can tell is you're depressed. We think you're depressed. I then get introduced to amitriptyline, where I take it, then I forget everything for a while, just slip off and stuff like that.
Is it addictive?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I came out of it in 2019.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're taking these pills to forget everything?
To chill.
Cool.
Knock you out.
How are your children interacting with you? How's your wife interacting?
I can't explain what I'm going through, but they know I'm going through a lot of stuff. My wife knows I'm going through a lot of stuff. I think...
Now, did you have enough strength for people out there that you can muster it up and laugh with them and they wouldn't know what was going on? Or is it getting out now that something's...
Well, the only thing is I'm going through all of this now. Then I'm also going through challenges in marriage because my wife don't understand. My wife is British resident. She came here when she was 8 years old. She's been raised in the system. She's been raised in a safe environment. And people having jobs or people losing businesses, she don't understand that journey of what you go through when you think like you wanted to be entrepreneur and all of a sudden everything is gone now and you're experiencing all the different types of issues in your life and she's like, sometimes we wake up at night and I'm like, I can't sleep. This is what my mind is telling me. She's like, what is going on? And all she can say is what's going on. And that's what she can explain. And this is when my spirituality kicks in. I'm like, no, I can't continue like this. If I didn't die yesterday. So I knew what it was to sleep and wake up in the morning and say, yes, I woke up in my life.
Right.
I knew what it was to wake up and say, oh, I didn't die yesterday after all. And I started to just kind of find ways to lead me to the part of where I think God started to just kind of speak to me, and I started to pray. Started to pray. And that took me into 2016 towards the end. And I remember I was driving Uber towards the end of 2016. I'm driving in my car on the motorway coming from Stansted Airport early hours of the morning, and I fall asleep because I've been driving for about over 12 hours the previous night. At that time, Uber had no limit of the number of hours you can drive as an Uber driver. You can literally drive for 24 hours if you choose, but now I think it's all regulated. You can't drive for that long anymore. Although there are people that does it with multiple apps. So, and I was driving from Stansted Airport, and eventually I fell asleep on the wheels, about to crash my car. And I was actually already off into hard shoulder, and I just got up. And my body tells me, for those who don't understand spirituality, my body tells me to drive and find a next service station and park. So for those who understand spirituality, for me, that was God speaking to me.
Yeah, pull over.
Pull over, you just need a rest. And I drove into a petrol station service, and that was where I slept in the car, and I had the revelation that literally birthed the part that I have now.
And how did this come to you? You're in this car, you're resting. How does it come? Is it a dream? Is it a thought? Tell me about the dream.
A dream. I was in the dream. I was sleeping. Literally parked my car, rolled up. It was winter, and I'm sleeping in the car, and I had a dream. And the dream was I was in a room where, for the first instant, people were talking to me and teaching me stuff. And all of a sudden, it swaps around, and I'm teaching people stuff. And All right, and the only thing I can hear was all things property.
Wow. Dr. Daniel, why does God care about property? Why
No
did he
idea.
have that conversation with you? Why isn't he talking to you about souls burning in hell? Why is he sitting down with you talking about property?
I had no idea at that time, but it all makes sense to me now. Everything I've been through as an entrepreneur for 22 years, I tell you the truth, it all makes absolute sense. You see, spirituality in God, everybody has to be prepared for every single challenge. And one of the recent things I got when I was reading the other day, I realized for Jesus Christ to die and for my sins and other people's sins and the entire world, he had to be beaten to death in order for him to resurrect. So before you become successful, just like lottery, if you've never ever had $1 million in your bank account before, and you've never been educated on wealth creation, or you have no clue about success, which a lot of people don't, if you get £1 million today, the first thing you're going to do is basically load up your house with food, take out the entire family for restaurant, the most expensive restaurant, because
Buy a Ferrari.
buy a Ferrari, do all these different things, and then that money disappears. So for me, I have been prepared for this journey that is looking so exciting that I have just begun, because I've been there, been through. I know what pain. I can't give all the pain away because it's one part of this episode, and it's all in the book.
Yeah. Do you know why I say that? I asked the question because success to a lot of Christians is different. I would say this, like if you study like fivefold personality traits, evangelist, prophet, pastor, teacher, evangelists say, ministry is all about winning souls, nothing else. I remember an evangelist saying it, souls, souls, souls. Pastors have no business teaching money or marriage or anything, just souls.
Interesting.
I remember sitting there like, nah, something's off here. Because everybody has their measure of success.
Yes.
So the evangelist success is souls. For the pastor, success is, but are these people taken care of? Are they for the teacher, it's like, are they maturing? Are they growing? For the prophet, it's like, but do they know their purpose, their destiny, their assignment? For the apostle, it's like, but are these people affecting the world around them? Are they transforming lives? And then you break that down, get rid of fivefold personalities and look at people who come to God. If we're not careful, I think we're in danger of indoctrinating Christians to where they think the only measure of success is how many crowns are on top of you, how many stars. I think we've been told that there's going to be stars on top of our heads for every soul that we win.
Yeah.
And you can catch a whole bunch of fish and just throw them back into the water and they're just as lost as when you first found them. Or you measure success by transformation.
You know, I actually listened to a very good sermon from Miles Monroe. May so rest in peace. And he said, the church is teaching you to be poor and the church is raising poverty. But he says, I don't know who your God is. My God teaches me and told me that the wealth, physically, spiritually, belongs to the church.
Yes.
And he says the church is keeping you poor.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. And I made this analogy yesterday. I said, Elon Musk, as wealthy as he is, one of the richest human beings on the planet, if he understands spirituality in God and he affects 1 billion people, what does that mean to the church? What does that mean to the Christian faith? It means what? That he can influence and bring or win 1 billion souls to Christ, the kingdom of God.
Yes.
In Christendom, not really here to deep into religion. In Islam, you see them come together to fund projects, to lend to one another, even without interest. In Christendom, how many people can trust the other Christian brother and Christian sister with money to invest in their businesses?
Absolutely. Yeah. No. And I was speaking to, I remember ministry somewhere in Bradford, and I said this statement when I was there. I said the difference between the other Abrahamic faiths, you got Judaism and Islam, all Abrahamic in root, and then Christianity. Judaism, they believe they're a nation. They're a nation. Islam, they believe they're a nation. Christians believe they're a religion.
Yeah.
And that's what's caused such deep issues in terms of our culture, in terms of building something together. I can't imagine how much would have been done by now if all Christians around the world were behind your property business, and they all said, you know what, we don't need fame and a name. Let's get behind Dr. Daniel. Let's invest in what he's doing. Let's build something so big for the church that we have collateral for days. If we want to buy a stadium, we've got real estate in the billions now. You've got the Church of England, for example. I can't remember how many billions is in there.
The greatest asset of the Church of England is real estate.
Yes.
The greatest asset of Church of England is real estate. Let me give you
It's not following. They don't have popular following.
But they're wealthy.
They don't have young people coming in the droves to Christ through the Church of England, but they're wealthy.
And it's quite interesting that success, we have become accustomed to just hate when people talk about success, wealth, and we celebrate people when they talk about poverty.
Yeah.
You know, people love you when you're poor. I remember when I started this journey and I said, this is what's happened to me. I've had this revelation. I've invested in myself. And my very, very close friend at that time from church said to me, bro, you're good as an Uber driver. You're lovely. You're beautiful the way you are. Why do you need all this? You know, and he started to want to, I said, bro, I rebuked the devil in you.
Straight up, get thee behind me.
Get behind me. And I never listened. I think if I listened to him, then the hundreds and thousands I'm affecting today in their wealth set of, you know, in their mindset, of their wealth creation would have never been possible. So it's so very important that we have to precondition our mindset that success is a good thing to have and is a good conversation to have. And everyone should seek to be successful. What does this have to do with the body of Christ? It has a lot to do with, because we can have bigger outreaches. We can have bigger influences.
Yes.
You know, and the list goes on and on.
Yes.
So,
I mean, you mentioned even Elon Musk. The power of what Elon Musk has is the guy can go to Nevada desert right now and say, I'm doing an event.
Everybody,
the world will come.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to hand out leaflets. He doesn't need to ticket anybody, nothing. He just has dominion. And when you have dominion, you have influence. So if the body of Christ had stars, instead of killing all the stars, you know, that we got, if we had stars, people who, not just people who became stars from preaching real good. I'm talking about people who became stars by living what this thing says, by activating the principles that they've seen in this book, and becoming like Solomon, essentially. What does it say about Solomon? It says the whole world sought this guy because of the wisdom he had, the way that he built. I mean, they're coming from everywhere to learn and sit at this man's feet. Yeah. I can't imagine what would happen if we had those kind of people in Christendom who could stand somewhere and say, you know what? I'm in the desert, I'm doing an event now, and the whole world. If Elon Musk now says that Martians in the moon are God, people will start worshiping. He can create a cult if he wants to. People, they'll call themselves the Musketeers or whatever.
Absolutely.
He'll create his own group. I mean, what's her name? Beyonce has a cult.
Yeah.
Literally. I know it's not a church, but she has a cult following. And even if she says now she's worshiping a Yoruba goddess, people will differ. Even Christians will fight for her rights. Yeah. To be with her Yoruba goddess and worship her. She's never been to Nigeria a day in her life. She doesn't know the power she's playing with. Yeah. But, you know, from America, she wants to be playing with Yoruba. I don't know if you want to be... American witchcraft is different from our one in Nigeria. I don't know if she wants to be playing with that stuff, but this is where I wanted to dig in, because the people who aren't winning in today's world, in my opinion, are victims. And more people are buying into the victim narrative. Yeah. I actually believe, just like we had this with Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle also blew up on wokeism. We also had this other white comedian from The Office. He's in The Office. He's in The Office. I used to love The Office. What am I talking about? I feel like his name's David as well. Huh? No. Yes, Office UK. The main one. Ricky Gervais, of course not David. Ricky Gervais also blew up at the Grammys on wokeism. Because wokeism is hypocrisy. It's selective outrage, and it's like it's literally victim Olympics. Everybody's crying to be the greatest victim. You're a woman, therefore you're a victim. You're paid less than men. Not that you're more likely to get pregnant, and therefore men will stay in the workplace.
Yep.
No, life is not fair. You're black, and therefore you're underprivileged. And you came from Nigeria. Your oil tankers blew up. So now, do you know what? Be a victim for the rest of your life. And what he said was so profound, that there are real victims in this world. You got women in the West crying out against male, toxic masculinity, and all this stuff. Then you got women in country who aren't even getting news coverage, who are real life victims in Iran, who right now are fighting a tyrannical government who won't let them just uncover their hair, and they are killing them, brutalizing them, and beating them. And we've given more voice to Meghan Markle and more airtime on CNN and everything to her than we have to a woman who's being abused, who's told she's not allowed to drive. She's half a citizen by some laws that they uphold. And so real victims aren't being given a voice. The people, and I love what he said, we're typing on our mobile phones against this, but some poor kid in India is working in a sweatshop or China to make all these things we're making for less than £1 a day, trying to feed his whole family. So we've lost perspective.
We have.
In the West on what real victimhood is. And the problem is, if you've got a mind, you can simulate a virtual victimhood that doesn't really exist. It just exists as what they call, I think Oprah was the one who termed it, my truth. So you've created your own truth. And now because you created this truth, everybody has to abide by the rules that you keep changing every single 5 seconds. And then we're seeing now in our world, people are adding linguistics, using words very well to mean different things. He even came for abortion. He said, look, he's pro-choice. He said, you're killing babies. Like, let's stop calling it what it isn't. You're murdering children. You're killing babies. You need to know what you're doing here. Like, wokeism I think it's becoming blown up. You just said something watching it that was so true. He knows what he's doing. Because this wokeism going to the extreme is creating a market of angry people who are like, this is nonsense. Then you got people in between who are not quite angry, they're just not outraged enough to do anything about it. And he's even stimulating them as well to say, look, these monopolists over wokeism and how we ought to think, they're driving us crazy. They're sending us over the edge. And now they're doing stuff with children that's just bizarre. I don't even know if I want to show that today. They're doing stuff with children now that's bizarre because they know they've lost the battle with us. We've seen the world too long. So they're trying to brainwash another generation to believe that all of this nonsense that's going out there is real. How does your politics play in what you do? Because I'm sure in your business journey you come across the wokies. The people like, we're victims, we're black, we're this. So you got to give us it for free. You don't understand what we've been through. I've had black people try to explain to me as a black guy why they're not successful. And they've tried to say, well, you were born with a silver spoon. You've had, and all these sort of things that people try to explain. And then when I tell them, no, like my parents were good, but they made us start from rock bottom and we built our own life from scratch. You see what I'm saying?
You see, at the end of the day, right, everybody's trying to play a victim. Everybody's trying to own what doesn't exist. What do I mean by own what doesn't exist? A lot of people are trying to play victim, the reason why they should even fail them all. Like, you don't know my story. You don't know where I'm coming from. You don't know who I am. You don't know. Listen, at the end of the day, your story is your story. I'm here telling my story today because my story helped me, change me to become the greatest version of myself.
Correct.
A lot of people want to... Interesting, very conversation. Somebody spoke about, I don't want to go to church here, but somebody spoke about that the life that we live now, all right? You are going to live in your desert. You're going to lead in your drought. You're going to lead in a place where nothing happens. You're going to lead through the fire burning you.
Yes.
All right. And then you're going to eventually lead to somewhere where the rain is going to kind of calm you down.
Correct.
I think a lot of people have become accustomed to this problem of just basically saying, you know what? They said, look at Lex Brown. Lex Brown said he was told that he has, what's that word? So he was called the dumb twin because he had, my day. No, it wasn't dyslexia. He has,
autism? Is it?
It just escaped me. He couldn't spell. He couldn't.
That's dyslexia.
No, not dyslexia. Oh my days.
Dyspraxia instead.
Oh, okay. Let me.
Let me Google. So Les Brown had. But go on with your story.
Oh, man, I was going somewhere with this. It just left me. Oh man, I hate when I talk and something left me.
Oh, he had a stutter, like a stammer. No.
No stammer. Oh my days, Les Brown. Oh my phone. Anyway, that's fine. Oh no, I lost this conversation. Anyway, it's not life, is it? Oh, I lost this. He had something, and he.
Mentally retarded.
Mentally
it actually
retarded,
says.
yes.
Educable, mentally retarded.
Good, thank you.
Wow, that's a deep. That's a lot. That's not. That's not saying dyslexia.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
I see why you struggled with that word, because that's not dyslexia. That's
you might get cancelled just now.
no, but that's back in that time. That's what they would have said.
Yeah.
Like, you are mentally retarded, which damages self-esteem and his confidence. Ooh.
So, should I flow now? Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
You didn't know
about
that?
him. No,
Okay.
That's amazing.
So, what the victim mindset here was, for example, someone like Les Brown. Les Brown was told right from a very young age that he was nicknamed mentally retarded. So it was called DT, the dumb twin, mentally retarded.
He's a
Nickname.
twin.
Yeah, he's a twin. He was told that he can never spell, he can never write, he can never become anything. He was just, and he remembered the story where one of his teachers said to him, do not let what people's opinion of who you are becomes your reality. And that was what changed his life. He could have ended up playing a victim his entire life.
Correct.
I think somehow people have been told, who they are because of the victimization, the victimization mindset.
Yes.
That you will never be something, and people believed it.
Yes.
You will never, like Chris Rock just said, people have become accustomed to the likes. All right, and people actually killing themselves because they posted something on social media and did not get liked.
it. Yeah.
Right? As entrepreneurs, there are different mindsets that we need to develop from not becoming a victim,
Yes.
but actually becoming a victory.
Yes.
And using everything that could have actually stopped you. One of the biggest things I learned in my lessons of life, being through this last, the last 18 years of my journey before I started to see light, I started to realize something, that no one is going to come and save you.
Oh. Nobody's coming. Help is not on the way. It's within you.
It's within you.
Everything you need.
Nobody's going to give you light. You are your own light.
Correct.
You know.
Do you know who the people often save and help? It's actually successful people. There was an experiment where there was a poor guy on the street begging for money. People walked past him. When a wealthy guy with a suit asked for money, everyone gave him money.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to really help you until
You're successful.
you're successful. Or at least until you look like
You're successful.
Like, victimhood actually doesn't draw, it actually creates a worse situation. And I wonder who's benefiting from our victimhood.
You know what? Quite a very interesting question that I can't answer, because who is benefiting? Probably we could want to say probably the institution.
Yeah, governments for sure are making money off of black consumption because we're
I mean,
victims.
look at the pandemic. Do you still wear mask?
No. Today?
Today?
Oh, no, forget it.
It's quite interesting how, like we were saying there, how we become how we're flowing against what should become and following what should not become.
Yeah.
So what should become and what should not become, we're following, and just because validation,
Right. And it's the likes thing, because everyone's addicted to likes. That's the danger. To be addicted to likes, you can no longer be a hero. You've got to be a celebrity. What do we mean there? Celebrities are cowards.
I told you a story yesterday when we had the Instagram live, and I said, if you read the book called That Will Never Work, it was a story actually, a story written about Netflix. And everyone that the founder of Netflix spoke his idea to, told him that will never work.
Wow.
And that's the name of the book as well.
Wow.
That will never work. Everybody was like, that will never work. But today, do you still remember the DVDs, the CDs, the
Blockbuster.
Blockbusters?
Who's Blockbuster?
Do you remember them? No.
Yeah.
But against what works, he
Yeah.
created Netflix.
Yes.
You know, and this is where we're going to now in our lives, where people ought to start to create their own economy. People will be so, be so dependent on the government. You know, okay, the government has to give you this, give you flat, give you money, benefit system. You know, no, it is not. You know, what right now is the biggest and the most, greatest time to be alive, to create your own systems, your
Correct.
own institution, because the original institution is failing.
Correct.
Look at the banking system. Look at the money system.
Yeah.
The bank can take my money and your money and lend it to the next person in the room, but you can't literally take money from A, B, or C because you seem
Have
to
you
be.
found it, or is it just me that it's harder to withdraw your money now? Is it just me?
Oh my days!
The other day, no, I kid you not. The other day, we transferred money from one account to another, our own money, the bank contact. What are you doing?
And they put a stop on your account.
They put a stop.
Yeah, and they
twice
wanna-
now.
Yeah.
No, 3 times. 3 times. They put a stop on my money. I got premium accounts. Okay, so you should know these are. I got black cards with banks, so they should know this is serious money coming in. I dump money in my account from another account. Where's this money going? I have somebody now who's lined up to invest something.
I was paying that.
The bank called her and said, "Where are you putting the money?" So she said, "It's my money." Yeah, but we need to know, where's the money going? She's literally shocked that this money's been depreciating over the time of this period because of inflation. That's why she comes to me. She goes, "My money's sitting there. They're not giving me interest on the money."
No.
Obviously, they're loaning the money out. And the more they
course.
loan it out, the
Of
more
course.
they cheapen and
We are,
devalue your currency.
you and I are the product.
Well, that's it. We're
We,
products.
you are the product. The people is the product. And this is what they didn't want you and I to know.
Correct.
What is wealth creation in the first place? It takes power from the institution and put the back to you.
Correct.
I don't know what of a lot. I don't even know what's going on in my outside economy. I'm
I
so
don't
drowned
care
in
what's
my own
happening.
economy.
I hear you. If they say to you we're in another depression, who cares? You don't.
I don't know.
They are in, and your name
Cost of living crisis. I don't even
That's
know how
not
much.
us.
I don't even know how much I pay for my water
I
bill.
have no
gas. I
idea.
don't have no idea.
I hear you.
Because I'm working so hard on my own
Own
economy.
economy.
You can't expect to be rich or wealthy if your mindset is so dark and so poor without a light, going nowhere. The thing is, I think the majority of the population have used to just jumping in their car and just driving without going to a destination. And not understanding all the different elements that you need to bring together, which is wisdom
Wisdom.
that allows you to become the greatest
This is
version
what
of
people
yourself.
need to realize. You don't need money. You need.
You don't
wisdom.
need money, you need wisdom. I didn't have money. I lost everything for building everything back.
Correct.
I could have become depressed. I could have stayed on that tablet.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of spirituality around my success. Absolutely, I get it.
Yeah.
But this one, the reason why I decide to share to
Yes.
everybody that you don't need money, you need creativity.
Yeah.
Creativity is what creates money.
Yeah.
You don't need to be, institutionalized. You need to become your own institution.
Yeah.
You don't need to focus on the outer economy. You need to build your own economy. But the fact is, people have been brainwashed, like we said, likes, engagement.
Yes.
Are you even converting your likes into business?
Correct. And it's a social credit
People are
system.
excited about engagement on social media. Is the engagement leading to you exchanging of a value?
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
You and I just literally we studied the conversation on Chris Rock, right?
Yes.
And we know we're going to take that into the business element, which is quite important for entrepreneurs to kind of always take information and recreate and produce. But how many people are taking information to create and produce? Rather, guess what? Entertained. People love to be entertained.
People love to be entertained. Absolutely. And entertainment is like, you're managing people, you're containing them. And I guess you're doing what you did when you were going through your drug situation you're numbing something. This is what people are really numbing out. You're Uber driving, but you're getting depressed. And I tell you why I think majority
And you
people
lose
in this
all
world-
hopes.
Yes. You know why I
Become
think
fat.
I was going to ask you, did you become bigger?
Yes, I did.
I'm sure you did. You know what I tell people? A lot of depression is ignored potential. It's everything that you're called to do. It's all your greatness on the inside of you just telling you, what are we doing right now?
Yeah.
And let me tell you what we do when we're depressed. We look for medication. Medication could be drugs. It could be pornography. It could be illicit relationships. It could be, I mean, one of those.
What did they say about the idle mind? They said an idle mind is what?
Playfield for the devil.
Exactly.
Yeah. And this, I think this is what we're seeing. My heart bleeds for young men more than anything, because these are the future fathers, the leaders of nations. And you're like, oh, you know, women. No, I'm not one of these. I believe men are supposed to be solid leaders. They're progenitors. That's their nature. They're supposed to put forth generations. They carry seed. Do you understand what I'm saying? So my concern is for men, because, and this is why I love what you do in the business world, because I've seen more men disempowered when they don't have purpose, job, or money.
Yeah.
This is honestly, when I see men
100%.
who are depressed, I say, how's your money doing? And they go, oh, it's not good. I'm not making the money I want to be making. The moment men feel most confident when they're taking care of their family.
Yeah.
When they're providing for the needs. Like you were at that time, you said, oh, it's good. You know, you have the oil business. It's not super, but you're able to take care of
everyone. Yeah.
And everybody's good. The business is spinning the way it needs to spin and everything's working. I've noticed that men, like when I speak to wives, they go, my husband's depressed. I say, what, does he have a job? Yeah, he has a job. Does he like it? No, he hates it. It's boring. Well, you know, I don't think he has his sense of purpose yet. And I think if he took the time to actually discover what he wants from life, and life is probably calling him to a higher place, but nobody's teaching him that. I said, is he watching a lot of Netflix and getting overweight? I said, yeah, back-to-back TV shows. He doesn't even look up anymore. He's just on his phone. I bet you if you check his Explore page, it's filled with booties and boobs as well. The more money these men are stepping out, what's happening? If you can speak to it.
Quite an interesting topic. I mean, I've been broke before, and now, you know, to the glory of God, I'm doing very all right.
That was a rich man laugh. That laugh had money. Go
You
for
know,
it. Continue.
To be honest, I think this is where environment is everything. If you're in an environment where you have a lot of, you know, individuals who are very super wealthy and they live a certain lifestyle, there's no way you're going to avoid not being that. You know, where you're going to become very promiscuous, you're going to do the nightclubs, you're going to do the strippers clubs, because that's fun. That's playing with a toy, they say. But if you become wealthy and you are pursuing a purpose, and the purpose is beyond money beyond
versus wealth.
Exactly.
I agree with you. Because wealth has
It's-
meaning. Money just has money.
Money is just to spend and just to
Yes.
enjoy, right? Wealth is completely different. And I say this to the time, some of my community members, I say, do you want to be rich or do you want to be wealthy? What one is it? Rich means lavish, enjoy. You know, you're not going to take it with you. Life is for the living. Wealth is a good name, a good man.
Legacy,
purpose.
generational.
My father said
impact.
something to me. My father was quite polygamous, right? My father married a lot of women. My mother is the 7th wife. I'm the 26th born of my late father.
Yo.
I learned something from him.
Like are you bumping into siblings every time? Like when you go to Nigeria,
I don't know some of my half brother or half sister, especially even from the 3rd and the 4th wife. I don't really know the kids, but my dad was quite so. But something I learned from him, even though he was very, very. I mean, at the time he's late now, but at that time he said something. Son, build a good name. The good name is not just money. The good name is who you are. The good name is what you stand for.
It's the brand.
Good name is I purpose. Good name open doors.
Build a
Good name after I am gone. Why do I answer my father's name? His name is Moses. His surname is Agwebo. His middle name is Arayomi Bibi. You know, quite lengthy names. But I answer his name because they taught me that just one principle. Your name. Rich. Sometimes rich people don't understand about. Rich people don't care about names.
Yeah.
Wealthy people build name.
Yeah.
Name comes with everything else.
Yes.
Wealth. It's everything else. So, yes, you're very right. From the algorithm you've just spoken about, sometimes the more men becomes more wealthy, or the more money some men makes, especially, let's talk about, for example, African people and African politicians, right? Even actually the Western politics, they do all sort of, dodgy things about, I don't want to go into deep into it, but we know what goes down there.
Yeah.
But if you're building wealth, it goes with purpose.
Yeah.
Just you and I, when we first met, before you responded back to me, what was your algorithm? Your algorithm would be probably research. This guy.
Oh yeah, straight on Google. I told you, didn't I? I called a few people. I was like, who's this? Who's this guy? He's DM'd me. He's messaged me. Because you have so many people who are attracted to. You probably get this a lot. Will you mentor me? Mentor me. Some of these guys can destroy you.
Yeah. So a lot of people are just looking for a way to sneak in, pretend. And this is one of the things I love. I read great books, and one of the greatest book I've ever read, it just basically just teaches you about how to protect what you've already created so that it can be prevented from contamination.
Yes.
Because remember,
what's the book? Is it Laws of Power?
Exactly.
I thought you were gonna go there.
Yeah, Laws of Power.
A lot of people hate that book.
A lot of people hate it because a lot of people read it too quick.
Yes.
It's not a book to be read when you're on your beginning part of your journey. It's a book that must be read. It must be a book that must be read.
Very insidious though. If you listen to it in audio,
both,
it sounds evil. Even when he's talking,
it isn't.
Don't outshine the king, because if you outshine, and you'll tell a story. This is what I love about it. And I say, do you know why I say it's kind of evil? It's dark wisdom. I'll tell you why. Because we're told biblically, be as meek as lambs, but be as crafty as serpents.
The Bible says, don't let your what?
Left hand know what your right hand is doing.
But this book teaches you, this is the first book I've ever read that teaches you serpent level craft. Like how to literally be a serpent. Like stand in a room, this guy thinks he's the king, don't outshine him. And how in not outshining him, you can take his authority later. There's no book that I mean, it's all through the Bible. Don't get me wrong, it's there. But he gets the wisdom. When he talks about scarcity and even what you said about the King of England not talking too much. Like that book, they banned it in prisons. Do you know in America, they don't allow it in prisons because the prisoners were catching wind of the principles and they were becoming top dog of their cells just by reading the book.
Life is all about choices. I say this all the time.
Yes.
Choices. The choice to become the greatest version of yourself or the choice for you to become the worst version of yourself.
Correct.
If you choose bad over good, then the choices and consequences are there. So for every information that you receive, it is your choice to go through the part of what you become of it.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I always say this as well. Everybody have what it takes to be successful, financially, emotionally, and otherwise. But guess what? When people are in relationships and marriage, especially in this side of the country or the side of the nation that we are, husband and wife wants to lead. But two captains cannot
lead. The double-headed thing is a monster.
Move a ship. So if you start to apply different wisdom to wealth principles, when God created Adam and Eve, when God created male and female, it says woman being the helper to the man. So be his side when he can't see this. And I can go deep into all these different, parts of this session. But the point I'm trying to make in the end is that, right, we have what it takes to either use the information that we process every single day for the betterment of our lives.
Correct.
Or to adapt the victim mentality, which is what we spoke about earlier.
Correct.
So which one is it going to be? But again, the institution have taught us.
Correct.
All right. To either want to be evil or want to be bad, and people are always obviously doing evil over good.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you is we have an event called Elevate coming up. Why should people be there? And we talked about pay to play yesterday. Why should they pay to play if you can tell us that?
When I started to pay to play, my life changed. When my circle changed, my life changed. When the kind of conversation I started to have, my life changed. Elevate means it's like being on the ground floor and you need a lift. You need you need a lift to go to the next level. Elevate means, for me, a relationship, right, that adds value or brings value to your table. I learned something from a few billionaires that have become my friends. And someone said to me, one of them said, he said, you need people and you need opportunity to become a billionaire. People, opportunity is the easiest way to become a billionaire.
good.
He said, you don't need money. It's not money that makes you billions.
Yes.
It is opportunity and the people
people.
that's around you.
Right. Right.
Why should people elevate themselves right now? This has become one of the fastest time on the planet Earth that becoming successful is in your doorstep.
A lot of opportunities.
Depending on the information and how you processing that information. Are you utilizing information for your growth, or are you getting entertained by the information?
Correct.
But this is why, again, a lot of people sleep too much. Poor people love to sleep.
Wow.
Poor people have all the excuses, but yet they want good things.
Right.
So, elevate means it's time to elevate to the next level.
Yes.
Elevate means it's time to be in the room. Elevate means it's time for you to come to someone that's got your result and you ask them, how can you take me from here to there?
Correct.
Knowing where you are now to going where you're going.
Right.
That's what elevate means to me. So if you want to change your destiny, if you want to see yourself 5 years from now and look back and say, wow, did I do that? You want to be in the Elevate conference.
Appreciate that big time. Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel, for being on today's podcast. We hope to have you back soon. This was an awesome time. I'm sure all of you agree.